The U.S. Supreme Court has ended constitutional protections for abortion that had been in place for nearly 5 decades after United States top court overturned 1973 Roe versus Wade ruling. Tens of millions of women across the country are now at risk. Legal right of an abortion, and individual U.S. states are now legally entitled to ban the procedure. It is expected that at least half of them will be banning abortion in the coming few weeks. However, liberal states in America have pledged to act as safe havens for women seeking abortions in anticipation of a surge of patients from areas where the procedure will be banned. The Democratic governors of California, Oregon and Washington issued a joint message declaring that the West Coast will remain a place where reproductive health care will be accessible and protected. Listen in.
Today, with the Supreme Court ruling to overturn Roe versus Wade, more than half the states in the United States ban abortion outright or severely restrict access to abortion services.
That's why California, Oregon, and Washington are building the West Coast offense to protect patients' access to reproductive care.
We're going to work with our legislators, with our providers, with our patient advocates.
And to give you a better analysis of the roadmap ahead and which U.S. states will be banning abortion, take a look at the map on your screens right now. These states marked in red are the ones that will definitely restrict abortion. Now that Roe versus Wade has fallen, there are at least 22 states where abortion is set to become illegal. Most of these are Republican-controlled states. There are 13 states that have so-called trigger laws in place already, which will lead to an immediate ban. 7 states, including Kentucky, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, and South Dakota, have already banned abortion. Texas and Tennessee have set a period of 30 days between the release of the judgment and a new ban coming into force. Texas has even declared June 24th as a holiday. And Georgia, Ohio, and South Carolina are among states that have passed laws restricting abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. The ones in orange are the ones where it will be accessible but not protected. The yellow states are the ones where abortion will continue to be legal. In the states marked in blue, abortion will not only be legal, they will moreover provide expanded access to those seeking abortion in America. The states also differ in how they ban abortions. For example, in some states, there are exceptions for rape or incest, but Kentucky only does so if the pregnant woman's life is in danger. And in all these states where abortion will be banned, women and other people who can become pregnant will need to travel hundreds of miles to reach an abortion provider or self-manage abortions at home through medications. And for more on this, joining us live from New York is Democratic strategist Christiana Caracahale. Welcome to the broadcast, Christiana. Well, my first question to you is that 50 years of federal protection for abortion access is now over in the United States of America. The verdict comes after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Americans have the fundamental right to carry a handgun in public, but American women do not have the right to get an abortion. What do you make of this?
Listen, I mean, it goes without saying that this is a dark day for our country. It's been a roller coaster of emotions for the past 2 days, as you mentioned, with the Supreme Court's ruling against the New York state where I sit gun ban. And it really is a hypocritical ruling that we were dealing with today. A lot of folks, I think, expected to be a little bit more prepared for this decision, being that about a month ago, maybe a little bit over, we got a leak indicating that there might be a decision kind of made in this direction. But I don't think the magnitude was ever realized. And the juxtaposition of it being put next to this decision where it is legal to carry a concealed firearm, but illegal for a woman to choose what to do with her own body is absolutely just breathtaking.
Right, Christina. Coming to my second question, what are the immediate implications of this decision? We know that 13 states have already imposed trigger laws. What does the future look like for women in those states if they are going to get an abortion?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. And yeah, the trigger law states are obviously the ones that move the quickest, whether I think the kind of categories, a few of the states that you mentioned, one also that I've been looking into just a little bit more that happened a little later here in the day, which is Arkansas, actually identifies the performance of an abortion as a felony. And so I highlight that to say that we've been speaking with a lot of abortion provider clinics, nonprofits, things like that, who have oftentimes provided resources for women who are in need of help. And it is a big ball of confusion at the moment because we're not even sure. Each state is able to make their own kind of decrees. They're able to identify the appropriate punishments, and they're also able to identify whether it is legal or illegal in acts of rape, when there is mother's health or baby's health at the same time affected. So it's exasperation, it's confusion, and it's a lot of frustration. Right. I think we heard from several clinics in states that were close to California, including Colorado, that had already, or close to Texas, including Colorado, that had already been taking an influx of patients in from there, many of which were funded by nonprofits, as right. What tends to happen is lower socioeconomic women are those who are punished the most by laws like this. So it is a collective effort of a community of folks that believe in the right to choose, of now trying to figure out how to pivot and how to make sure that these funds and resources that were previously going into programs in states where it might have been more difficult for women to get abortions and where it's now illegal, and how we're able to help continue to process and help these women get to what some are referring to as safe haven states, which are protecting the rights for women to choose.
Right now, as we speak, there are protests going on against the ruling, and Democrats have vowed to fight back the ruling. Do you think it's going to be effective anytime soon?
You know, soon being, a word that I think we should keep as relative. Obviously, we have checks and balances in this country for a reason, and the Supreme Court is to be the end, not the beginning of decisions. That being said, there are many things within the decision that was made that could be adjusted at different state levels and federal levels in order to protect this right. So I think it's really going to depend on what happens in November in the election. Again, as you mentioned, I'm sitting here in New York. We have primary elections that have already started for early voting, and that will commence on the 28th of June. And we're really going to see a little bit, I think, of a shift here. You heard Mitch McConnell talk about it, not in the sense of abortion rights, but in the sense of gun rights and gun safety when he voted for the law that just recently passed in the Congress. And he was saying, the Republican Party is consistently losing suburban women. And they are going to be a key voting bloc come November. And if they believe that they are under, attack, and that their children are going to continue to be under attack, whether it be at schools, grocery stores, etc., because of gun laws, then I really do think that it is the Democratic Party's kind of initiative to really push forward and make sure that folks are getting elected in seats at all levels of government in order to make these changes. Now, if there's majorities and things like that, something can happen sooner rather than later. I want to be cautiously optimistic, especially speaking on the day when many say that, women became a second-class citizen in this country. And so can there be a change? Yes. Does it mean that we need to get folks out to vote to get the people into office who will make those change? Yes. So still to come.
Right. Thanks very much for getting us up to speed on this. That was Christina live from New York. Thanks very much.
Thank you.